Okay, reward-based riding. I am Ajelka Celius. Today's topic is using scratches instead of food in our training. And with that, I mean, instead of clicking and follow up with a food reinforcer, we mark the behavior and follow up with a scratch instead. Use it a lot with my horses in summer. They all appreciate scratches a lot in summertime and during shedding season. And I have easy keepers, so it's a great way for us to keep the calorie levels low and still have a high rate of reinforcement. So not withholding reinforcer, never a good idea. And yeah, just maintaining the rate of reinforcement in session with something that they really appreciate is super valuable for them. And here we're gonna watch a little bit how that can look both in training and in teaching. There it is. I have the picture of mounted riding. Yeah, I do use scratches when I ride sometimes as well. I think that is excellent for some movement, shoulder movements, for example. Not so much as from the ground, but still I want it to be established that me touching my horse in different places is actually a reinforcer for them, especially since as we see here on the picture, I want to tack on. I want to work with tactile cues. I want to work with leg aids and the rein aids, and for them to be associated with scratches and me touching, that's a good prerequisite for actually using them as reinforcers later on when we have installed them. So long story short, here on the other part of the picture, we see me scratching two of my horses. They were really used to working with scratches. Ellen, the brown horse, she's on protected contact, on the other side of the protected contact. They were used to the system, and I mean, she's leaning into it, so maybe it's a bit hard to see, but they are each on, uh, each of them is on one side of a small protected contact area, yeah. And yeah, you can see them both leaning in really well to the scratches. They both appreciate it, and I think that's, I mean, when we want to work with scratches as reinforcers, that is our first task, to ensure that our horses actually like scratches. First rule for any reinforcer, I mean, they must be a reinforcer for the one who is receiving them. So in different scenarios, different reinforcers can be a good way of experimenting a little bit, but ultimately we must remember that the one who decides what is reinforcing in each and every second and session, that is our horses. So we can't reinforce anything with scratches if our horses does not like them, okay? And I mean, to ensure that my horses is positively viewing me coming and scratch them, I often insert myself in scenarios like this. Yeah, as I said, protected contact. If you're like really unsure of your horse, always go with safety first and scratch from another side of the paddock, fence, stable, etc. and see if your horse like engages with you and looks for a little bit more. Here, a typical scenario where I like, hey, do you want me to help out with that? My horse is already scratching themselves. Like here we see a horse I work with, and she's having a little bit of an itch behind her ear here. So I can insert myself here and like, hey, can I be of assistance? Maybe you want some help with that. And often that leads to my horse opening up a little bit like, yeah, I want some more of that, please. Which is actually what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a little bit of movement and the horse engaging in the scratches in the beginning. Horses, some horses, I mean, here horses are different. I, of course, meet horses that have negative experience from touches, and that will take maybe them a while to actually lean into the experience. Here we see my horse Blenda. Before she came to me, I mean, she has sweet itch. She had a lot of sweet itch, needed a lot of care. And switching the scenario from her just like, now I'm gonna smear cream on your face. She didn't like that at all. Instead of working more with her as an active participant, but here reinforcing her with scratches. So when she dug into my hand and like my hand with soothing balm or fly cream or whatever it was on the hand for her to engage in the behavior and go back to her belly and rub her a little bit and start over again, that quickly turned from something that she didn't want to participate in at all to something that she like, this is good, this is great. And I could gradually expand on areas where I could actually look for touches. She often had like sore ears from the head mask. So yeah, we needed to work a lot on that, and scratches was a huge thing for us to work on instead of food here. And the same with this guy. He is I don't know, 20 plus something, has a lifetime of negative reinforcement. I mean, just a setting where the horse is a little bit more passive and the horse is supposed to wait for cues. So for horses like this, it can take a long time for them to like show their, hello, I'm here, I want this and I want that, to show us what they want from our interaction. Which for me, if you have a look at the Triple C video, I talk a little bit why I actually want that in that video, but that's not the topic for today. So here, if we have a look at this video, this is a Stu from Disco Cavallo who is working. I'm there teaching, and I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah, take that one. Yeah, fint.
You see the hip moving towards her. Excellent first step.
And now he's in a good position to actually take a step. So let's see if he will do that. Bra där, super.
Oh, he's so nice. You see, and also you see a little bit of licking and chewing. This is actually a little bit hard for him. He's not used to engage humans in behavior, so this is actually huge. And she's doing such a great job with this. Okay, let's pause this one. This is a tiny later stage. But to get the horse to open up and to engage with us, scratches are really good for that. Here we have the opposite horse. He's very, like, he loves to sit in my lap and often comes towards me. When I go to feeding, he's like, I can already see, he's like hip coming towards me like, hey, are we gonna do it? So with him, I quickly worked with a parking cue for us to clarify that once the initial stages is set, I actually want you to remain standing, and I will come and scratch you real good if we park. He knows parking from earlier and is quite good at that, built up with food. So the transfer wasn't like, it wasn't too bad. But I find soon as the horse actually gets like, it's the same we're doing with the click and the treat here. There's a lot of possibilities to shape fun stuff. And if I don't think I said so, if we missed it, we're shaping a hip movement towards the rider here that later is going to be a Hanschusin, okay? Excellent way, one of my favorite way of teaching Hanschusin. It's right here. Same with Tiny here. That's how I taught him this behavior as well. And let's see if we can have a look. Scratches, he's standing on a pedestal. We come a little bit further here. And this is a little bit of gymnastic. We see he's ready for scratches. And I have put a cue on the behavior. That's my lifted hand. We need to scratch for some time. And here I'm doing a transfer to working with food on this behavior. So I'm combining it also with food reinforcers. But you see here, he stands here. He can wait for his cue, and we can scratch as a reinforcer. For me, I love working like that. I really, really love the engagement and the connection that we can get from working with our horse using scratches. And we have to be we have to systematically plan as we do everything else. And it's important for me that, well, scratches are in the session. In the session, I scratch and we shape behaviors, shape a little bit more advanced behaviors sometimes. Of course, I scratch horses for free. Can't stress that enough. It's like I come into the paddock and I scratch my horses for being cute, you know? So it's not that like, no, you're not getting any scratches because you haven't done what I asked of you. It's the same as with food reinforcers. We don't want to withhold food. That causes frustration. Withholding scratches and just asking our horses for too much behavior when it is something that they really, really value is like never a good idea. So with that said, the combination with other reinforcers can also be super, super good. And here we see Nayag, and he is also an easy keeper. We are working on hay. We're working on a small shoulder in here on the long reins. Yeah, he's doing great. And boosting the hay a little bit, you see, it's like, only hay. I can also boost the hay a little bit and taking a little good scratch there before we start the next repetition to actually up the value of the hay a little bit. So for me, plenty of ins to use different reinforcers, and I think the more different reinforcers we use with our horses, the better they become at understanding the system. So really something I want all my horses to be really, really good at. So with that said, have questions about what we talked about today, just let me know in the comments. And if I need to clarify something, just tell me. It's a short video, so of course we're not super in depth here, but I'm sure I missed something, and just let me know what. I'm so used to working like this, so can get a little bit home blind. But all right, I think we're done and through and out. And thanks for watching, and see you soon.